Hey, good day. How everybody doing? Hey, thanks for joining us for another episode of The Beauty and the Beast. As you can know, at this present time, I am Brian Glaze Gibbs. So obviously, I am the beauty, and this is
Yes,
Dr. Lisa, this is
the
Dr.
beast,
Lisa World, and obviously, what you are.
the beast.
Okay, so it's the Beauty and the Beast show. It's the big Beauty and the Beast. Hey, thank you for taking time out. Right now as we reflect back on a weekend event, when you sit back and you look at it, man, it's Friday, man, and you look at Friday. And to me, for those of you that right now don't have the weekends off, and like I don't know, for some reason,
Shout out
it
to
didn't really
you.
matter to me. Once I got back into the working world, I like having Sunday and Monday off, opposed to just having Saturday and Sunday. Because once again, I like when everybody else at work and I'm off and I can go in the store, do my little grocery shop, I do my little
Hmm.
things that I was at peace. You know what I'm saying? It was like I like that better. But anyway, I'm fortunate to have Saturday and Sunday off. You have to work to get there, whatever. And I'm there now. So I'm looking for a real peaceful weekend this week. But anyway, what we're going to talk about is some of the things that that been in the headline this weekend. Like for example, one of the things that we want to talk about. First of all, introduce yourself, Dr. Elisa.
Hi there. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Elisa, the beast. I'm the beast here.
Today.
Today, I'm the beast.
Okay. But
So,
anyway, right now, Wiz, you know what? Being that it's lady first, we talk about a few things that we want to discuss as far as the weekend review. What do you want to start off with? Ladies first.
there's a couple of things, but there was a quote that I do want to start off with that I think is important. So, this is good. A person generally hates or dislikes you for three reasons: they want to be you, they hate themselves, they see you as a threat. So I just want to kind of keep that out there. I think that's important for people to kind of understand why, you may have these people in the world that seem like they just can't seem to be happy for you, or, seem like they're able to sort of support you in any meaningful way. And it could be, one of those three things.
And can you repeat that, please?
A person generally hates you or dislikes you for three reasons: they want to be you, they hate themselves, they see you as a threat.
That's powerful because once again, even as you sit back and think about it, a lot of folks have what we call identity crisis. Because once again, you know what? I don't know who I am. I'm
Mm,
lost. So right now, it's being that you have true identity yourself and I don't, then guess what? I don't like that because I feel that you have a advantage. You have the edge. But whereas only thing I have to do is, you know what? Wait a minute here. What is she doing right? What is she doing
mm,
wrong? What do I need to do to be with, what I'm saying, at? Like even at this present time, that's how I look at different things. Like right now, like to me, in order for me to become a better me, I had to model myself after other people. That's
right.
what helped me to be a law-abiding, productive citizen. That's what helped me to be better today than I was yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Sorry.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
I
No,
like that. That's powerful.
absolutely. And I think always keeping a positive mind, despite what others may think or feel, sort of helps you to sort of wean out those who don't mean you well or are unable to find a strength in you. So yeah, it's important to have the first self love. Self love is key.
Another thing is right now is what I want to do is take the time out, man, to, pray for the family of the victim that lost his life. You know, he lost his life. 23-year-old guy, and
Hmm.
only thing he did was went to work, and an altercation happened over some cold ass French fry.
Mm,
This man lost his life over some cold ass French fry from McDonald. And
wow.
the sad situation about the whole thing, he just died today. So may his
Oh,
soul rest in peace and his spirit be lifted. And like I said right now, my deepest condolences to the family.
yes.
Because once again,
Yes.
like look what type of world that we're living in. That, I'm saying, like from my understanding, a mother of all person happened to be in McDonald. And I guess right now was she was unhappy because she got cold French fries. So automatically right now is I guess she fronted the people, yo, listen, my French fries cold. I want some hot French fries. So
Mhm.
according to the reports, I guess they just took a few hot French fry and put it on top of her cold French fry. She ate the hot French fry, then she ate the fourth one. It was cold, and then she raised hell. She went all out. So to
Mhm.
me, is it that serious? Like then she got mad because she felt these young kids was laughing at her. You know, they all gonna laugh at me. They all gonna laugh at me. Let's sit back and think about it. So right now is like, why we as human beings, especially adults, they are kids. How
Mhm.
can we out? We can't outthink kids. You
Right.
can't. Well, listen. You know what? Give me a manager. But yet and still, you FaceTime your son. Your son think he's a gorilla McGilla, a killer. Okay, what he do? He come down there and then listen. We got two lost lives over what? Some cold ass French fry. I don't get it.
Yeah. I mean, again, may his, soul rest in peace. And for the family of the victim, if they really need any kind of support, they can feel free to reach out to Dr. Elisa at Dr. Elisa's World at Gmail. I will certainly, if I can be of any kind of support, I would love to chat with them and see how we can help them through a very difficult time. That being said, you spoke about the mom of the perpetrator. And, it's concerning that a mom would call her son to sort of intervene in a situation like that. So it says to me, is there something going on with the mom? Is there something that we don't know about her mental capacity, her ability to kind of, manage her adult life? Why would she call her son to get involved in something like that? I think that's a huge concern. And it's also what would make this young man feel the only way again to resolve an issue is with violence, whether it was, from what I hear, it started off as a fight of some kind of
Mhm.
altercation, and then he pulled out a gun and shot him, point blank in the neck. So yeah, it's a very, very sad situation, and again, it speaks to the difficulty or the inability for young people to self-regulate and to control their emotions.
Mhm.
And so, what? How do we manage that? What do we do about that? And a lot of that has to do with growing up. How are we helping youngsters when they're children, when they're babies? What kind of environment are we creating for them so that we can help them to understand how to manage their emotions? How to regulate. Um, Again, there's a lot of work to do.
And you know what? For those you are not familiar with the story, or those you just joining us or whatever, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and read an excerpt. The 23-year-old Brooklyn McDonald worker shot amid a gunfight that law enforcement sources say apparently stemmed from a fight over cold French fry has died. Police say Friday as they declare this case a homicide investigation. Police identified the victim as Matthew Webb of Queens. He had been shot in the neck and was taken to the hospital in critical condition after Monday's shooting. Police say he died, Wednesday. That was the same day a second person, an 18-year-old woman, was arrested in the case. Camellia Dunlap of Nostrand Avenue is accused of criminal weapon possession and possession of a loaded firearm in the Monday evening shooting outside a restaurant in Bedford Stuyvesant. Okay, the alleged gunman, 20-year-old Michael Morgan, has been charged with attempted murder and weapon possession. His relationship to Dunlap wasn't immediately clear. It wasn't clear if either he or Dunlap had attorney or upgrade charges would be filed against one or both of them. So, according to law enforcement sources, say with direct knowledge of the case, Dunlap allegedly argued with the 23-year-old McDonald worker about the temperature of her French fries. She supposedly thought they was too chill. The fight spilled out into the street and down the block, which is when police say the woman called over another man, potentially Morgan. Soon after, shot fire, leading to a bloody scene on the sidewalk. Webb was hit in the neck. McDonald released a statement earlier this week condemning the violence. The safety and well-being of our customer and employee is paramount to our organization, and violence had no place in our near our restaurant. McDonald restaurant owner And operator, say we are praying for a swift recovery and the health of our crew member and will cooperate with authority as the investigation moves forward. So when you sit back and you look at it, all that is what? You know what I'm saying? Over cold French fry. That how many lives are going to be lost? You look at the victim, may his soul rest in peace. You look at this young 20-year-old guy, okay, right now, that most likely right now he admitted doing interrogation to another murder that he did like 10 months prior.
Mhm.
You look at the young girl that was there that was carrying a gun. And to me, I didn't have folks, because I did a piece about this last night. I didn't have folks say they feel the mother should be charged.
Mm, mm. Well, maybe not that severe of a consequence for her action, but certainly she should hold a significant level of responsibility for this incident, and also what was going on with him throughout his life. That if he was involved in a previous homicide, that was he ever really given the help and support he needed in order for him to kind of make it through life without hurting people or hurting himself. And it seems like the mom, maybe in this case, just didn't have the tools or the information or the resources in order for her to do that. Like she just simply didn't understand. Did she not realize that this would trigger him if she reached out to him? Did she not understand his triggers? Did she not understand that he had regulation issues?
Okay.
Did she understand that he had impulse control issues? She didn't understand any of that. I can't figure that out. Then again, we don't know the history. Did he live with her all his life? Or, what was the situation there? Did she ever use substances? Was he born addicted to any kind of substance? Like, we don't really know his situation through neonatal or after, like how he developed. So there's so many unanswered questions, but we do know that he was involved in 2 murders before he was 21 years old.
Okay. And even with that being said, like sometimes, honestly speaking, that the street can be very delusional. And what I mean by that is this: it's been 10 months since she shot and murdered somebody and within that same neighborhood. So automatically, you know what? It can have a psychological effect, whereas you
Mhm.
feel remorseful and like, man, I don't know what I got myself into. Or you can go the opposite way. Look, I killed one guy. Y'all know me in this neighborhood. And see, once again, if he'd been out there when they had witnesses, he'd been out there for 10 months because it happened October 2021. So to me, 10 months later, he killed somebody else. So people know what happened, what they did, but it's that no snitching in the neighborhood policy. So they let this killer walked around 10 months and he got confident. He got
Mhm.
cocky. So he walked around daring somebody to look at him, daring somebody to say anything to him. And not only that, like I say, you're right, we don't know. But then again, her moms know who her son is. I'm pretty sure her moms got the word in the street. Hey, yeah, man, he go for being a badass. So automatically, right now, is if a situation take place, y'all must be don't know who I am. Y'all must be don't know who my son is. So I'm just throwing that out there. Not saying that's the case, but that's a good possibility because once again, she felt being disrespected at this McDonald. Do y'all know who I am? My son is a killer. Only thing I gotta do is call my son, and guess what? All hell gonna break loose. So I'm just
Well,
trying to.
obviously, with her, I mean, there's something missing, either attention, self love, some kind of worth or value that she was seeking through her child. And that she knew perhaps that he would respond in some way that she felt protected. Maybe she never felt protected by anyone before, a partner before. So maybe she lived through vicariously this experience through her son. There's so many things that seems to be missing in the equation, but we can say for a fact 2 people lives are lost, and that's the young man who was killed and the young man who will be going to jail for a very long time. And the sad part is, will he receive the help that he needs in order to become a productive adult? Because when you think about it, if he's even given 25 years, he could be out before he's 40.
How? for two murders.
I mean, there's the laws, interesting. Like you said, look, you got out
Yeah,
early.
yeah, but right now is that's a big difference. You know what? Hey, I got out. I ain't just get out. You know what I'm saying? Period. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of it was some under the table deals. So it's not all this situation is different. These guys can't even think out the box, but because they think they rah rah rah. They think they it. They think they, you know what I'm saying, John Gotti. They think they the gangster. They come on.
But why? Why do they feel a need to do that? Something is missing either in them as individuals in terms of their ability to cope with life, or something around the community that lacks structure, that lacks organization, that lacks a sense of community, that lacks a sense of values and systems that allow a community to thrive. So, what is it that he is missing as an individual or as a part of a larger system?
You're right. Look at this right here. C Dub. They won't do 4 years of college, but rather do 25 years in jail.
That's
You know
right.
what? Look what Mr. Tony Ellis say. The mother should be charged with involuntary manslaughter because she caused this.
Shout out to Tony Ellis. Hey, Tony, how you doing? Tony, that's an interesting point. I'm afraid to agree with that, partly because so many young people are involved in antisocial behavior and pretty, deviant behavior that all of the mothers would be in jail. I think we need to be thinking about a larger issue in terms of our family structure. So, what's going on? Where's the father? Where's the extended family? Where's the community when these kinds of things happen? I don't think I think the mother is, of course, a central part of this conversation because she called him, but this is not his first murder. His first murder happened 10 months ago, and the entire community probably knew about it. And I would hate to think she even knew about it. But I always say all of these people who do some kind of crime, particularly in major cities around the country where rents are 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 8 and $10,000 a month, give or take, um, they're putting their key in the door somewhere. And so where are they sleeping at night? Who is creating a structure and an environment for them that is healthy, that has boundaries and consequences? What's going on when they go home, when they're all like hanging out on the corner or acting a certain way? Who's actually providing like the discipline or the structure in the community?
That's a good point. Who is? But even right now, is guess what? Like yesterday we was talking about it, and everybody's talking about how jack up the city is. How some folks right now is only way they can make money is through crime. They got to hustle. Saying like sell drug, rob, steal, and everything. Or these PPP loans or white collar crime. And right now is like to me like something that we spoke about. I have to disagree because once again, it's so many different opportunities that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
Right now is, but we beggars can't be choosy. I
Right.
can't want $100,000 job where I
That
only got a
part.
sixth grade, where I only got a sixth grade education. So once
That's
again,
right.
but if I go out there and I apply myself and I get a job, and if I'm reliable and I got that fire burning in my belly and I got the right personality and attitude, then guess what? You got people in the workforce will help you get where you need to be. And even I've given a solution telling guys like, you know what? I will go around collecting aluminum cans. I know within a 9 month to 12 month, if I hit all these garbage cans, guess what? I can collect 1 million to 1.5 million cans. And guess what? At 5 cents a pop, that's $50 to $75,000.
But
And
speaking of jobs, right? Speaking of jobs, 528,000 jobs added, right, to the United States employment roll um, this week or this month. So, and the unemployment rate is only 3.5. So there's lots of jobs. There's lots of jobs. Are people motivated to work? Not the people that want to work, but these young people, like you said, who, either need something to do, should have something to do, should be developing skills. and have certain types of expertise in order to perform these jobs, why aren't they just out there like knocking down doors to get these jobs? What is it that they are looking for? Because I feel like the drug game is over. Like, is there still a drug game? I don't even know where people can how can they afford? I mean, what is a what is a kilo of coke going for?
I
Is
don't.
that, I
I
don't
don't.
even know. I think it's like 40,000. I don't even know. You can't even find that anymore. I mean, nowadays everything is fentanyl and laced with this and laced with that. So you're not even really selling drugs like that. So what are they actually doing for money? Is it just scamming, or people just getting credit cards and fraud? Like what are they doing to make a living?
Even right now, look what you say, and you made a great point. Like, to me, I'm so lost. I don't even know like what drugs is going for. I don't even know if somebody asks me, if my life depended upon it, I gotta go to a drug spot. I'll be lost. I'll be dead because I don't know. Here it is right now. Shout out to my man Muhammad. If I'm tripping, there's 46 people on. Why the like is not 46? Hey, folks, listen. Right now, guess what? It's all about support. Right now, when you got the beauty, you got the beast. You know what I'm saying? I'm the beast. You know what I'm saying? Dr. Lisa is the beauty. But right now, what we're doing is right now, how do we come on these platforms and have real talk, have heart to heart talk that can help uplift, empower people, but yet and still, we got people listening. Why we can't hit the like button? Why we can't hit the notification button? Why can't we hit the subscribe and share? Because that's what keep things going, folks. It don't cost you anything to
Right.
reach out and hit that like button to support. It don't cost you anything to copy and paste and send the people that's in your cell phone. Send the people via email. Send the people via DM or messenger. That's how we're going to get this to the next level.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with that. But going back to the situation with the McDonald's unfortunate tragedy, I do think the mom can certainly use some help and some support around this situation, because she has a lot that she needs to deal with. She has a son now that is facing two murders, and then there's a family that lost a child. I just can't even imagine the devastation associated with that. And then I hear there was a young lady that was also involved in some way, his either a partner or a loved one of some sort. Again, why did she feel a need to even be a part of that situation in any way? Um, so yeah, there's a lot to it.
And why are women attracted to bad boys? Why? Like, for example, okay, cool. He got the reputation, kill somebody in the neighborhood or whatever, so he's that. I'm just confused. I am very, very
I
confused.
think so. I can't really answer that question. It's not my area of expertise, but just speaking as a woman, I think what bad boys present to women, particularly women that feel like they haven't really been protected. And, Black women have always been like one of the most unprotected groups in the country. And so I feel women that are attracted to these men feel a sense of protection. They feel a sense of security from an emotional standpoint. And that's partly because in many cases, they may be lacking in terms of their father and the role that their father plays in their life, or any other like adult men in their community. Like we do have a deficit in our community of, strong men that are able to provide a certain level of, structure and advice and, guidance for our community. And so when you are void of that, your community starts to deteriorate quickly.
I like what Tony say. Tony say she knew he was crazy. Okay, there are contributory factors. She began the altercation, then participate in the escalation.
Hmm. Hmm.
Then I
Yeah.
like what this gentleman say. The Ram Home of Haiti, the so far. Shout out Beauty and Beast podcast. Keep it real 100.
Hey, the Ram's Horn of Haiti. Hey,
We're not
Lionel.
we're not trying to elevate each other. Instead of pulling other up the ladder, we rather pull each other down the ladder. And that's what we call the crab in the barrel mentality. And that's what this program is all about. And the things that me and the doctors trying to do. How do we change that behavior? How do opposers? Nah, We about taking no claws, you know what I'm saying, and pulling each other up out
Yes.
of the barrel and keep, you know what? And once we all come out of that barrel, destroy that barrel. Because once again, you know what? Like to me, I love it when I'm trying to help people. I'm love it when you can take people to that next level. And then when people come back to you, like based upon the information that you give me, based upon the guidance and the direction and coaching you gave me, look what I'm doing now. I love that.
I
That's
could bear witness to that. I can bear witness to that. And so, yes, and I thank you all the time. Thank you, thank you, thank you. But Lionel is so right. It's incredible that he would even put this in the chat because someone actually emailed me for the Ask Dr. Lisa segment in terms of, like a question. And the question was, why don't women, particularly Black women, stick together? And it's in line with this same kind of what Lionel is raising here and lifting for us, that we have this tendency to want to pull each other down and criticize one another. Like there's no more love, support, and care, those really basic emotions that make us really whole people, a whole person. And why are we missing that? Is it something that's going on in terms of like what we're watching on television? Is it social media? Is it the breakdown in families? What is happening where those basic human emotions, positive human emotions, are missing? And I want to go into this question a little deeper later, but Lionel, you're absolutely correct. We need to really get out of that because no society can succeed when you're pulling each other down and not trying to elevate.
you know what? Even right now, like look what we're talking about, and the objective is like, how do we stop history from continue to repeat itself? It's like right now, black on black crime. Like right. Why can't we a simple sign and misunderstanding? Like I made a statement. I said, man, that woman could have went home and put a French fry in the microwave. Somebody comment and say, you don't put French fry in the microwave. Man, listen, I bet you she'd rather put it in French fry in the microwave to prevent this from happening. So that's what I'm trying to tell you right now is folks, listen, what can we do from a collective standpoint? Building a platform, building a community, building an online community. Because that's what we're doing. We got voices, we got platform. So what can we do and how do we utilize it in the right way to take this stuff or stop having history repeating itself over and over and over again?
Mm-hmm. And I think we need to be very aware that mental illness is real. I remember working in facilities. I was the behavioral health director for a group of facilities across, New York City. And one facility was for the chronically, mentally ill. And I remember having people who was resided in the facility where they would call their relatives to help them, put out a fight or a situation that was going on in the facility. And it was kind of interesting because here you have people who are managing their own mental illness, and then they're bringing other people in the fold in order to sort of, create this whole confusion and chaos in a place where people lived. But it was difficult to hold them accountable because they had their own emotional and mental deficits and brain disorders that was keeping them from really understanding reality and having a good sense of reality. So it was difficult to hold them accountable. And I think we don't necessarily know this mother's situation, but we can say, I think with pretty much consensus, that any mother that would call her son about cold French fries or any issue that's really that basic, and it escalates to this, there's a concern.
Okay, like even with that being said, like to me, I'm just thinking, and I could be wrong. I'm thinking that guess what? She knew, you know what I'm saying right now, who he is. And to me, I think people, like you say, from a protection standpoint, well, like I done been around family member, be based upon my reputation or whatever, are they having them tell people, well, you must be don't know who my family is. People like that. Serious, like they because they feel like they got an ace in the hole. And that's the stuff that, what, like I told you, don't get me wrong. When I was a young fool and out there, yeah, I'm guilty of that nonsense.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, I mean, even if that is the case, there is still something that's going on where people have a safety concern in their community. They either feel threatened by other predators in their community and they feel like prey, and so the way that you survive is you try to find, allies. And the most dangerous people in the community, or at least those who are perceived to be the most dangerous, become your allies.
Yeah.
The
Hey,
other
but
thing is someone mentioned that, I forget, I think it was I don't know. Oh gosh, what's her? Anyway, they mentioned like kids are having kids, and I could, I understand that theory that young people having children could potentially like be a disruption, if you will, disruptive to the developmental process. However, I think from a biological standpoint that women produce all their eggs by the age of 10, pretty much. So, and they max out by like basically 20. And that's why it becomes very difficult as you get older to conceive. So I think in the order of, nature, having children young isn't necessarily the problem. It's socially how we are kind of, um, developed in our system, in our environment. And we're just not ready emotionally, mentally, financially, socially for children young. But let's think about our grandparents. My grandparents had 10 children before they were both 25 years old. And they raised those children. Those children were all healthy. Everyone was lived in the same home, and they were married, and they were together for 60 plus years. So this was normal back then, right? Like this was normal for people to have children that young, and the children are healthy, strong, and contributing to society. I think it has a lot to do with our structure now, that we're just not prepared as humans to kind of just live in this new world, this kind of new world order, which is not healthy for anyone, very unhealthy.
if we're not prepared, how do we get prepared?
I think we get prepared by going back to the basics, really being much more in tune to ourselves. We do have to feel a sense of love and pride and dignity for who we are. I mean, we got to also love each other. I mean, no species can survive without procreating, right, with one another. So they need to continue to love and support one another, have respect for one another. I think we've lost that along the way. And I don't know, where did that come from? Magazines? Did that come again from some other type of outside or external influence on a community that's committed to seeing the destruction of that community, because you need a permanent underclass in a society. So how do you create a permanent underclass? You create psychological warfare. And how do you do that? You do a Willie Lynch, right? And so they began to hate one another. They began to separate from one another. And basically, at this point, the children are basically running the community.
Okay. You know what? Listen. Even with that being said, it's like right now, what we have to do is pay attention. Come up, like try to come up with the right solution for these problems. Because once again, we got to stop letting history constantly repeat itself. Renee Mitchell, we are 18. Okay, we are 18 shot in the face last night. And
We
BJ,
were we
okay, can you read? Yeah, we are.
we are 18 got shot in the face last night. And BJ, he asked him more money. He said no and got shot in face and died. It seems like Renee is saying that someone was shot in BJ's.
Okay,
I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah, I don't quite understand that message, Renee. You can come back and revisit. Hold up. There's a homeless mental health crisis going unchecked in New York City. Lack of resource. The
This
course
man.
have been dismantled. The closure of psychiatric hospital and the lack of mental health clinic. Okay, you know, and like I said right now, mental illness play a major part. And what we have to do is how do we get the necessary help? How do we raise hand and let people know? Guess what? Like, you know what? I am sick. I need help. Right now, I came up in a time and environment where, as far as right now, it wasn't cool to say I got mental health issue. I wasn't cool to say somebody's crazy, that you got to go to the G building or you got to go to Creemore. It wasn't cool. It was nothing cool about that. But now what we have to do is stop living in denial, because if we don't get these situations addressed, it's going to get a lot worse before it get better. And sometimes, folks, what we have to learn how to do, sometimes you have to get uncomfortable to get comfortable all over again, because we're not really comfortable, because once again, we are in what? Disarray.
We're also in this another D, denial. And so the denial around, mental health or mental illness, for lack of a better term, I like to refer to it as mental wellness, and brain differences. I think we haven't, I don't care how much people try to, normalize mental health issues. We aren't accepting of that, particularly in communities of color. We still aren't convinced that there can be something wrong with your brain, similar to how you come up with diabetes or heart disease or any other illness. So until we become comfortable with that, we're going to remain in denial, and we're going to believe that we can pray it away. We don't want to believe that you can be born with, a brain disorder, and that you may have some issues with how your frontal lobe develops, and or have some developmental disabilities that sort of can, hinder your growth. So we need to be very mindful of that. We also understand that the system doesn't necessarily have all the supports that we need in order to heal, right? And so psychiatric hospitals, are they really the answer? I don't know. Do you go from like prison to a psychiatric hospital, or what about outpatient facilities? Are they helpful? Particularly when everything pretty much is, you know, it's based on what people want to do. So I need to admit that I have a problem, or understand that I have a problem. Then I need to also go to get the support and help. That's with any health ailment. So how do you really address it when it's all sort of self-directed? A lot of it is self-directed, and if families aren't really galvanizing around one another to kind of address the issue, we aren't able to really heal as a community.
You know what? Lou Boy, I like this. Do families still eat at table together these days? The little things matter. I think that is so,
That's
so,
so true.
so
Yeah,
powerful.
yeah.
Do
It's
families
that
still,
basic.
yeah, do families still eat at the table together? Okay. And see, that's the problem. We don't do that. Right now, because everybody's so in a rush, everybody's so in a hurry, everything is microwave. We don't sit down and pray together. We don't sit down and talk to each other. Right now, we can be in the same house, and guess what? Am I talking to you? Are you talking to me? Are you texting me and I'm texting you? Hold on, wait a minute here. Why can't we put down these cell phones? And basically, right now, let's get back to the basic. So to me, like I said right now, like Lou Boy, that's very, very powerful. We have to get back to the basic and stop being addicted to these electronic. We have to. Right now is, do you want to
Depends
turn?
also what we're eating, right? Because yeah, we can sit down, but we need to really be mindful of what it is that we're actually consuming. Because again, I feel like if they can come up with seedless watermelons and cantaloupe, they can mess with your reproductive system through food.
Okay. All right. So even with that being said, I know there's other things we've been on this subject matter. There's a few other matter that we want to discuss. Go ahead.
Yeah, so the US declared that monkeypox is a national health crisis. So how do you feel about that? What do you think? Are we going
How
to
do I
wind up in
feel?
another COVID situation?
How do I feel about that? First of all, right now is like, to me, like, how you hear things, and to me, like right now is, I always tell people I'm not the smartest, but I'm not the dumbest. But I'm gonna ask a silly question: what the hell is monkeypox?
Well, it is definitely it's a disease. It's supposed to be, I believe, a viral disease, and I understand that it's contagious, and it actually can live on surfaces like in your bedspreads and things like that. So you can contract it from like even sleeping in a bed where someone had monkeypox. So I guess it would be considered something like chicken pox, right? Do you remember that?
That I remember that, but right now, based upon some of the things that I've been listening to, no, it don't have nothing to do, or it's not even a
No,
compa-
it's not. Yes, it has nothing to do with it. But I
Yeah,
mean, it looks a little bit like it,
yeah,
and I
it
think
looked a little like.
you can contract it by touching someone, and it's the same way you contract measles or COVID or mumps,
But
Ella.
once again, right now, from some of the information that I received, that it's more or less of a sexual disease. That's how it really started, you know. So see, a lot of that stuff go deeper than the original surface. So to me, like right
Oh,
now,
so
is
you're
even
calling it a STD?
right now, according to some of the reports and some of the people that I've been listening to, where as far as right now, other doctors and where it really stemmed from. So it's like a lot of times people want to tell us things, but right now is how or where all this stuff stemmed from. How did it came about?
Well, I did hear that it's 94% of those who have tested positive for monkeypox have been males, and males who admitted to, having sex with other men. Um, but I don't know if that is exactly how it's contracted through sex. I haven't heard that it's a STD in that way,
Yeah, but once again,
because you
like
can catch it by, sleeping
yeah,
in.
but once again, like you say, you have heard what 94% what?
Of those who have contracted monkeypox, they have been males, and males that reported having sex with other men.
Okay, and see
But that
those are
doesn't mean it's an STD.
yeah, I know it's not, but it's like chances are, like if you participate with certain activity, like even right now, hypothetically, chances are, if you smoke, chances are what smoking does cause what lung cancer. So it's like having a general ideal, like what this stuff stem from, how do it come about, what like I'm just trying to understand it because once
Mhm.
again, I don't quite understand it. Like I said, I am not a doctor. I was a doctor in my last life, but I am not a doctor in this life. So I'm just trying to get a better understanding, like what the heck is monkeypox?
I want to get a better understanding of how we understand the people we engage and interact with, because I think that's key. It's important to, not just have like these sort of random kind of relationships with people. Again, do you get to know people? Do you try to figure out what's going on with them? Do you investigate their health issues? And if they don't necessarily know what's wrong with them, or if they have anything going on with them, are you supportive to sort of help and guide them, to a healthcare professional, so that you can sort of get a clean bill of health for them, and so that you can engage in a healthy relationship with them? I feel like people don't take the time to get to know one another, and they're not really establishing like healthy sort of engagement. They're just going on these random kind of interactions, and I don't know if monkeypox is spread through just, through sex, or I think all diseases could be spread through sex if you're having that close contact with someone, including COVID, meaning like you're breathing on someone, right? You're touching, you're in the same environment, you breathe in the same air and that kind of thing. You're in like a confined space together. So the possibilities of contracting things from people is great. I mean, the other thing is we can't just live in a bubble also.
You
So
can't.
you can't, right? So you do need to you know take care of yourself, and make sure that you're just washing your hands every day, and being careful of who you really come in close contact with, and just being mindful that there's all sorts of things out there right now, and we just need to be very careful.
And no, and like I tell you right now, I'm glad that you speak about certain things, trying to enlighten people, encourage, enlighten them. Enlightenment is everything. Education is everything, and that's why I say it's a lot of things that like I told you, I don't feel quite understand certain things when we go, regarding, like you say, monkeypox. The same thing with the COVID-19. I just know, around people, I was the first one that started putting on my little diaper around my face and wearing gloves and doing different things or whatever, because once again, you know what? Like I don't want to take no unnecessary chance. I try, if I can avoid something, I'd rather avoid it more so
Right.
than anything. So that's the same thing right now. Folks be unaware with this monkeypox, until like right now they give us more information. We get a better understanding what is monkeypox. Because the first thing when people hear monkeypox, or they think something similar to chicken pox, and totally different from my understanding.
Well, it's contagious. So like, yeah, it's different in that you can certainly die. You don't necessarily die from monkeypox, but you can die from monkeypox. You do not die from chickenpox. But in terms of the fact that you can contract it by having that person-to-person contact, I think that is the similarity. Yeah.
And see, even right now, like I say, automatically, like I'm only. That's why certain subject matter, like I said right now, if I don't feel comfortable with it, I'll speak. Like I see certain things that you more comfortable or you more experienced with or whatever. Because even what C Dub say, look what he say. Look at the comment. They say those are spreading it. So, and those are things right now is like people have to understand like what is what. So there's a lot of things right now is if it's something that I don't feel warm and fuzzy about, I just like put my hands up because until we get a better understanding.
Well, we're here to report the information and to chime in and to provide awareness. I mean, in terms of our individual positions around who's doing what, who's getting what,
Yeah,
how they're getting it, that's not really the purpose
yeah,
here. The point is that it's out
inform.
there. The government has declared that it's a health crisis, it's an issue, and you can contract it by coming in contact with someone who has it. So that's the basic awareness information that we're trying to share through this platform. But I also want to say, like, you're right, we can't live in a bubble. But we can be mindful if it is contracted through sex, and I don't care if it's heterosexual sex or whatever, right? It's important for people to just vet people that they're engaging in any kind of intimacy with. Just vet them, find out who they've been around recently. What are you doing? What's going on with your health? What's going on with you? Because it's monkeypox today and it's something else tomorrow. And we know enough people who passed away from COVID to know that, whatever we want to believe COVID is or isn't, a lot of people died from COVID related illness.
Okay.
So it's just important to take precautions because we're living in a society where all sorts of things are going on. So just be aware.
You know, I got people been like reaching out to me, and they've been asking about the Brittany Griner situation, how she was found guilty in Russia and
Mm-hmm.
sentenced to 9 years prison. And even right now, like my views, we talk about politics or whatever, and a
Mm-hmm.
lot of times like what people don't understand, like, yo man, can you elaborate on that? Can you do a piece on that or whatever? And even for me talking to Dr. Elisa, and that's what I'm saying, like when it comes down to politics, there's a lot of things like I shy away from because I don't quite understand. But once
Mm-hmm.
again, it's an issue that people definitely want to hear about, want to know about, want to understand exactly like what took place. And you know what? Right now is what I'm gonna do is like, okay, let me read about it. Brittany
Mm-hmm.
Griner, 9 years prison sentence,
Ooh.
compounded injustice against her, say Secretary of State. U.S. Secretary of State say the 9 year sentence given to WNBA star Brittany Griner compound the injustice she had gone through in Russia since her arrest early this year. It put a spotlight on our very significant turn with Russia legal system and the Russia government use of wrongful detention to advance its own agenda using individual as political pawn. So Griner was convicted Thursday, sentenced to 9 years in prison and fined 1 million rubles, about $16,700. She had been arrested February 17 at Moscow airport after vape cartridge containing cannabis oil were found in her luggage.
Mm. Cannabis oil.
Yes,
I always wondered, was it actually like marijuana or was it like, medical marijuana?
but even right now, medical marijuana, oil, like a lot of times right now, where it's like, see, and that's what it's like, even when I sit back and think about that, like people understanding the do's and don'ts and understanding some laws. of certain state, especially certain country, because it changed. And if you go somewhere being blinded, guess what? It's almost similar to the basketball player. You know, my man, Iman Shumpert, what he did. He went through the, you know what, he leaving Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas, going to TSA, get knocked with 6 ounce of weed. Like, you know, like to me, like, and a lot of times people do not understand, like, wait a minute, some state, they wouldn't even pay no mind. From my understanding, if he was in California, that would have happened. It wouldn't have been nothing. But now, being that it happened in Dallas, Texas, it's a crime. Like he faced up to what, 2 years and what, a $10,000 fine. So, you know, like to me, like I'm just trying to get a better understanding. Like, you know, is this something that, you know, right now, like Brittany, like used to doing, like she, you know, have a little stuff with her or whatever, and just so happened now, as they say, it's a political situation, whereas they trying to use her as a political pawn, that they decided, like, okay, let's find something, let's take nothing and make it into something.
Yeah. Well, let's remember America has its own, history around incarcerating people for long sentences and time for marijuana charges. There has been plenty of people who've gone to jail for over a decade for marijuana. So let's not pretend that America is an innocent little bystander here. Now, could she have been caught up in some kind of political strife? Who knows? Does 9 years sound excessive? Absolutely. It was absolutely excessive here in the United States. So it's definitely excessive anywhere you go for marijuana. However, these countries do have rules and policies and regulations, and America isn't the big bad wolf all over the place and cannot, really control everything in every country. And so just like we talk about having, order and law and a certain way of living our life and our values in our own communities, we need to really figure out how we can establish that and get our communities in order. Then we can understand how you can get, a borough in order, maybe a state, then maybe, your continent. I really feel bad for her. I hope that, there is something that the United States will be able to work out for her. But I think it's a cautionary tale that there is order and consequences to everything. And, sometimes very excessive. And depending on the time and the place and the space, it can be, cost you a great deal. And it has cost many in America, like a lot of time out of their life. And, uh, we can only pray for her and that things, work out for the best. But 9 years, absolutely excessive. But this is also the time where things aren't going well in that part of the world.
Yeah. And like you said right now, like look at that. Oh, shout out to Jimmy. Jimmy asked if we were live. Yeah, Jimmy, we are very much live, Jimmy. This is not a recording, Jimmy. If you can see this, this is not a you know, you
Hi,
know,
Jimmy.
Jimmy. But like I told you, like even right now, like why? Like like even now, like from this political standpoint, like even the fact that I think just before what Russia invaded in Ukraine, that's when the situation happened with Brittany, and there've been a lot of, like I'm saying, outcry. They want the United States to do more. You know what I'm saying, to get to, return her home safely. And like I said right now, I guess it's like a wait and see game.
Mhm. Mhm.
It's a wait and see game. So that's it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's basically all I have on that story.
Mhm.
But I hope that people are very careful now, just
When you're
because
traveling,
it's very, yeah, traveling with, substances. And it's very difficult because it's like legal in certain states and that kind of thing, but that doesn't mean it's legal all over the world. And it's not even legal in every state, like you said, in the US. So you need to really do your homework. It's just like visiting another country. You need to do your homework to understand what the laws are there. What
The
are the
dudes,
policies? In certain countries, you can't even shake the man's hand. If you're a woman, you can't shake a man's hand. You know, there's in certain cultures you can't do that. So it's important to make friends in all walks of life, and it's also important to understand that people have different values. Different policies, different regulations than what you may be accustomed to in the U.S. And just be mindful of that. And I think that comes easier too when you have a sense of community that has a set of values and expectations that you live up to. Then, because you are required to respect your own community's values, you will be open to respecting someone else's.
hey, listen, everybody. Thank y'all for joining us. Like, let's do a recap. Right now is the beauty, the beast. I am the beauty. Dr. Lisa's the beast.
Definitely.
Yeah, can't you see? Right now is. But we started off talking about how two lives was cut short. Two lives over some cold ass French fry from a situation that took place. Whereas a mother, was upset that they served her some cold French fry. So she confront them about it, and they turn around, and I guess so she say they more or less like put a few hot French fry on her old French fry. So once she ate the third one, and she realized that fourth one was more or less like cold, she basically had a fit, and she didn't like the fact that they was laughing at her, and that turned into her feeling disrespect. That she FaceTimed her son. Her son came along. Him and one of the guys got into an altercation that he wound up shooting the young man. And guess what? The man died today. So right now, shout out to the family. May they soul rest in peace. May they son's soul rest in peace and spirit be lifted. And they are all in our prayers. So when you sit back and you look at it, like, wow, like over French fry. And even right now, how would a mother bring her child into a situation? Now you got how many lives lost over what? You know. Then just recently, you hear us talking about what? I'm saying the Brittany Griner and Iman Shumpert situation, a WNBA star, NBA base right now is going through the airport. Just so happened Brittany was going to Moscow airport in Russia, and
Mm-hmm.
right now, Iman was going to what, Dallas Fort Worth, and basically right now is they both got detained. Only thing different, Brittany just got convicted to a 9-year sentence in Moscow. For
Mm-hmm.
what?
Yeah.
So it's like right now where it's like, to me, what I want everybody to do is, if y'all like the content, you know what? We need to know that. We need to know that y'all like the content. We need to know what else y'all want to talk about, what y'all want to hear. And once again, support. Hit the notification. Go to Ask Dr. Lisa World. Subscribe to her page. And right now, what we're gonna continue to do, how do we make this what? Not mine, not the beast, not the beauty. I'm saying podcast platform, but we want to make this the community platform. What do we need to do? Right now is, guess what? They say two head is better than one. But what about a community of heads? Positive individual coming forth. All man and woman is written their own thoughts and ideals. So imagine if we build a community on social media, you know, building and being able to be being resourceful to other individuals that's on this platform, that we can probably prevent situation that being taken place like at McDonald the other day. So those are things like, how do we get back to our community? How do I personally right my wrong? How do this young lady use her education to help educate, help empower, enlighten, and getting people going to the direction that they need to go into? We are here, folks.
Yeah, honest conversation leads to growth. So, the more we can have these open and honest conversations about what's going on, not only in our community, but throughout the world, I think it can only help to improve and better our situation and circumstances. I do want to just I don't know, if you want to say anything else about the subjects, or I just wanted to just ask you one question related to the Ask Dr. Lisa question that I received.
Okay.
because I wanted you to kind of chime in on this. So, like I said, it was around what Lionel had mentioned earlier around why don't women um, stick together or support one another. And they were mentioning like all of these recent kind of like divorces and these kinds of things. So I think her name is Tashina Arnold. Her divorce from her husband, a basketball player, basketball coach or something, was finalized last month, I believe. And the comment was around like it's always a woman that's sort of breaking up another woman's relationship or situation. And so why can't they stick together like in work and in their communities and in their families? And I just want to hear your insight around that.
My insight, look, what do
Bring back
I,
Miss Leah.
why, you know what, honestly speaking, see, that's the difference. It's like right now where it's like, you know, with that whole situation, like she's going through divorce, why do women don't be more supportive of each other? Because sometimes right now is we as people, right now, here it is, you got a husband. I don't. I want what you have. So once
Mm,
again, if I can snatch that away from you and make it mine, then it's like a competition. But when it don't have to be a competition, it's like we have to learn to understand if we don't stand for something, we're gonna fall for everything. Because if in a relationship, it takes two, both man, both woman. When we say I do, and we say we're gonna do this, we gotta stay firm in that. And once again, we can never let the fire burn out in that relationship. Before that fire hit dead, we better throw some gasoline on that fire to keep it going. And once again, we got to communicate. We got to like whatever it took for me to get her or her to get me. We got to continue to do things. If it mean right now walking in the park, date night, right now was running her bath water, doing different things. These are the things that we got to, cherish and get back to the basic, open the doors.
mm-hmm,
So once again, a lot of times, whereas, and another thing, what we have to do is stop telling people our business.
mm,
Because once again, if you start talking about, oh man, my girl or my wife this, or my husband, my guy this or whatever, then what happened is right now is you start having them, you planting a seed. Now they want to see what you're talking about. They want to see, man, is she really that, or is he really that? They want to see what you see. So once again, we sometime right now we got to know what to do, what not to do, what to say, and what not to say.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of good points that you raise around that issue, around the question. I would probably say, and add to that, I think people by nature are driven by security and the need for protection, the need for a sense of validation. And I think I don't want to say that Black women are different from any other woman, and that they bring each other down in a inordinate or disproportionate amount or rate, at a disproportionate rate than any other women. Uh, but I do think that overall, people desire that security. And you're right, when people see someone that may have something that they desire or something that they want or something that they're striving to get, they may and sometimes it's not even intentional, you know, um, pursue a situation that leads to hurting someone else. I don't want to believe that people are intentionally bad. I think people are intentionally uh, driven by their own need to survive, and seeking out people who may have resources that can support them, or information, they want to survive, so they will do things that ultimately that can be very destructive. And part of it is because they haven't thought it through. They haven't thought about the consequences. They haven't thought about who they hurt. They haven't thought about how it can destroy them, what kind of emotional impact it can have on their survival. So I want to say that no, I don't think that Black women are different from any other woman, and that they are, deliberately going out to destroy the world. I'm not going to say that, but I do think, in general, people or have a tendency to go through that human instinct to want to survive, and sometimes survival can make you do things that you look back, if you live long enough, to say that wasn't a good decision. But I think, as a woman, um, let's just think a bit more about the decisions we make, because those decisions can have a really negative effect on families and communities.
But look what you're saying, and that's what we need to hear. Like right now, Wiz, I want you to continue to talk because I'm about to post this powerful quote that I received, and I like that. I like to share. Like what the sense to have information, quotes, knowledge, and we don't have the ability to share it with somebody. And to me, even you started this with a quote, and I like that because right now, being that you started the quote, I want to end with a quote. So go ahead and continue as I peck away. I got a quote that I'm putting up.
Yeah, and I just want to go back to the conversation about young people and the need for them to kind of really get the support they need around self regulation, and understanding that, self regulation, if you will, is the ability to keep disruptive emotions and impulses in check. And so it's part of our emotional intelligence. It's part of how we regulate, and I think it's important for the adults in young people lives to support them around developing an environment or creating an environment where youngsters have a desire and need to learn how to self-regulate. And we have to create those environments and spaces for them. And that's in the home, that's early on, figuring out when to say no, setting up what I call a schedule for them, eating at a particular time, sleeping at a particular time, conversing with one another, having more communication and conversation, so that youngsters can have a better way to resolve things. The more that they see adults doing it, and that adults are modeling the behavior, I think the better off our young people will be.
Okay. Hey, thank you, thank you, thank you. And you know what I want you to do again? I want you to read that quote that you started off with. I think that was very profound and powerful.
A person generally needs a person generally hates or dislikes you for three reasons. They want to be you, they hate themselves, they see you as a threat.
Okay. And like I said, I think that's very, very powerful. You know, I get quotes from my best friend every day. And right now, where it's like, he sent me this evening, and I'm
Mhm.
like confused, like, yo, wait a minute, what are you saying? But anyway, never waste your time trying to explain to a person who is committed to misunderstanding you. Never
Mm,
waste your time trying to explain to a person who's committed to misunderstanding you. So it doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't matter what you do. They already got their heart, mind, spirit built. It doesn't matter,
yeah,
because right now you are wrong when you are right. So it's like never waste your time trying to explain to a person who is committed to misunderstanding you.
that's a good point. And that's an important point,
Yeah.
because if you put so much energy in trying to help people to understand you, you're not putting enough into yourself and understanding who you are
Mhm.
and loving yourself. You can't force people to understand you. Most people don't fully understand themselves.
And see, you know what? And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, it's nothing wrong with that. It's like people don't understand right now. Growth is a monster. Growth is a monster, and people got to learn to understand. All wise man, all wise women seek knowledge from the cradle to grave. So what we have to do is, how do we get to that next level?
We have to want to, and it
Yeah.
has to be a will. You need to have the will to want to change. Everything is not about like how you grew up in your family and all that kind of stuff. All that stuff is important and it lays a really good foundation, or it can have a negative effect on you because it can be a very traumatizing young life experience. But you, at some point, if you have the mental capacity, you have to have the desire and will to grow, to learn, to experience, to understand people, to understand life, to understand, just how to relate to one another. Because if you don't have that will, you're just going to be going through people every couple of days, every couple of months, and it's always going to be someone else's fault because you haven't been really good at really, um, analyzing people. And not that you want to analyze everything, but if you allow people space in your heart and mind, that's some expensive real estate. And you yeah, that's some expensive real estate, and I'm just not giving that away. Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Hey, hey, hey,
That's New York Park Avenue real estate right there. Mm-mm. And I'm not just giving that away for free.
hey, you know what? That is deep, because once again, why are we gonna have people renting? They rent. You giving them space for free. We letting them in our space. We letting them in our mind. We letting them in our heart. We know, and that's the difference. You got to keep negativity out. You got to keep that nonsense out. And you're 100% right. Hey, listen, folks, thank y'all for joining us. Right now is here it is right now. We got a lot of things on our plate that we're trying to work on, and we're trying to bring something clean, positive, I'm saying, to the forefront, meaningful. We're not gonna be on here yelling, screaming, cursing, being disrespectful. And right now is, folks, listen, understanding our bylaw. If you come on this platform, you guess what we expect. Be respectful and mindful, and respecting one another. Because once again, I'm not with that or entertainment and all that negativity. It's like right now, I got different things that I do go live about. So when I want to talk about Fat Cat, Pap, or the street stuff, that's something totally different. This is a whole totally different platform. And I want people to understand and being able to separate the two. So once again, read the
Yeah.
topic, like read the subject, like what we're here to talk about. So I don't want people to take it the wrong way or get offended or nah. Understanding right now with this platform and the beauty and the beast, and what we're trying to do is we seeking to take this to the next level. So with
But
that,
you want to give a shout out to the people who enjoy and appreciate, your content, particularly around the war stories from the 80s, the 90s. That stuff is very intriguing. And people are constantly talking about it, and we love to hear all about, Supreme and Pappy and whomever else, all of these amazing, I'm sure, men. Uh, but at some point, we have to continue to grow. And I think if you were to ask them right now, they would love to hear, positive information. And I'm sure they all have children and they want their children to be exposed to positive information and positive role models. So I think it's great that you keep the information about those experiences in the past alive, because hopefully people will learn from others' mistakes and they can make better choices for themselves. And I also think that people need to appreciate your need and desire to want to grow in this experience.
do you see that? Most black podcasts be beefing. This is a breath of fresh air.
Oh, thank you. Me Guy Royal. Me Guy Royal 99. Sounds like it's Miga Royal.
Yeah.
Is
So
that a Meg a Royal? Mega Royal.
Mega Royal 99.
Mega Royal
So
99.
yeah. So look, I'm glad you did it, not me. You know what I'm saying?
I messed it up because I'm thinking, yeah, it had that little bit of a Caribbean twist, but yeah, Mega Royal.
Guys, or whatever. Renee, how you doing, my sister? Well said, 91-year-old man. 91 and a half. 91 and a half.
Right. You
91 and a
stand,
half.
you stand
So
corrected, Renee.
I
91 and
want
a
to
half.
be 91 and a half or whatever. So like I
Yeah,
said right now, Wiz, thank you for joining in. And right now, Wiz, we got touch base to see what's going to be next. And like I told you right now, folks, me and her be brainstorming. And we definitely we like behind the scene or whatever, like yesterday we had a powerful conference call, me and her and Charlotte critique. And right now
hey,
we just be
Pretty.
brainstorming and making sure that we bring quality versus quantity. We want to bring quality content on a day-to-day basis. So when we get together, whatever, like I said right now, sit back, relax, and enjoy, and be a part of it. Like I told you right
Right.
now, this is not the Beauty and the Beast platform; is the people platform. And what we want to do is how do we get back? But anyway, y'all folks have yourself a great, safe weekend.
Absolutely. And don't forget to DM me, ask Dr. Lisa at the real Dr. Lisa, any question that you may have. So Glaze and I
So
can
you say
trust.
DM,
Yeah, they can DM me at the real Dr. Lisa on IG.
DM at hold
Hmm.
up at
The real Dr. Lisa.
IG.
Yep.
Because once again, like I said, I want to be able to get everybody informed so they would know.
Hmm. Yep. Correct.
Yeah, so and that's what I say. That's what this is all about. I kind of like the turnout today, and like I told you, I like no negativity, no nonsense, and that's what this is all about. So
Yeah.
thank y'all for joining us. Tune in the next time. We will make sure that right now when we go live, we what we're gonna do is we're gonna get better at it. I'm gonna get better at it because once again, I just had a rough night, and I just came here to try to put the thumbnail and all this other good stuff, and it's like, man, I was out of it. So that's just real
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. You are the hardest working man I know. You were on live last night and then again today. So you're covering all the stories and you're getting that information out to everyone. So that's a good thing.
And your friend Tony Ellis.
Well, thank you, Tony. Serious Talk Good people. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to everybody. I see positive vibes. Lou, E Money, all of you. Thank you. Linwood.
Everybody have yourself a good evening and a great and safe weekend. Peace, love, and prosperity.
Bye.